Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Of course you're not coming back again. You've just been banned. We begin our video with another story about a crazy customer. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Fine, then don't have your burgers. I grew up working in my family's takeaway in a hippie town very east in Australia. Every year they have a music festival during the long weekend in July. When the festival happens, everything is booked out from hotels to holiday rentals. A lot of people come from the cities. This story is from when I was 19, though I looked 16. I've been a pseudo weekend manager since I was 17. My job is to cook out the back and run the junior staff. This particular weekend, we were busy, being the long weekend. Other than the supermarket, we were pretty much the only store open. I was shift change, and I was working the front counter to help out while I waited for my mom to pick me up. A lady, L, and her partner, P, come in and order 2 burgers. We make everything from scratch. Our meat patties are not pre-cooked, and chicken fillets get floured and crumbed as we cook them, so it takes up to 10 minutes to cook. And at this point, it's just after 2 o'clock, and we're still busy with lunch orders. As usual, when busy, we inform people that it's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. L and P move just outside the store and on the footpath. After about 5 minutes, L starts loudly complaining how long it's taking, loud enough that I can hear her as I'm serving. This goes on for the next 10 minutes, at which point my mom has come in and seen how busy it is and started making coffee orders so that there are now 3 of us serving. When the order comes out, the cook calls it out and then puts it in the bayer near the kitchen till the customer comes in. At first, L must not have heard, but every time someone passes the bayer, all orders in it get called out. I call out the order as well as the others and start serving a gentleman his phone order that needed to be paid for. As I'm doing this, she walks in, still complaining about how long it takes, and stands at the bayer, which is at the back of the store. She turns and yells down the shop at the 3 of us serving, "That's my order! Someone has to get my order!" I smile and call back, "Just a moment while I finish serving this man." I hand the man his change and go to get her order from the bayer. As I do, I apologize for the wait and say, "It takes a bit long because we make it from fresh." L was having none of this and starts yelling at me. "Stop attacking me! I didn't say anything!" I smiled and said, "I was just apologizing because you commented as you came in." She starts screaming at me that I'm attacking her and have no right to speak to her, that she would get better service than this in the city. I'm really confused at this point. Customers around her were doing that awkward, "do I get involved" shuffle. P had come in and was trying to calm her down. I had not realized it, but my mother was standing behind me now. She doesn't stand for people yelling at her staff, let alone her daughter. My mom pipes up, "Well, if you're going to talk to my staff like that, you can leave the burgers, take your money, and not come back." I have never seen someone's mouth click shut so fast as Elle stopped mid-rant, turned and left, but not before declaring as she got out the door that they would never come back again. And our second story. Reject my idea, then praise the dumb idea from the boss's daughter? Sure, let's do it her way. So back when I was a university student, I got hired for a summer vacation position at a dog training school to design and maintain their website. It was kind of one of those scammy sorts of certifications that would never land anyone a job anywhere, but it was a thing and the school was actually fairly popular. Now, this was back in the day before MySpace, where GeoCities websites were our own little touch on the internet. If you're young enough to never have had the pleasure of visiting a GeoCities site, here are a few of the common themes. Like the Dawson's Creek theme? Not for long, because your inner ear canal is going to be eviscerated on half the ones you visit with, so open up your morning light being shouted at you. On the fonts, all of them, from Comic Sans to Times New Roman, you're going to see them all. Wait, all those fonts are visually appalling? Better make it a giant slurry of colors the background to balance it out. And let's top all that off with some low-res, low FPS GIFs, utter perfection. Anyway, I was actually a competent web designer, and it was clear that their official website was made by a not-so-competent web designer. It was basically a GeoCities site hosted off GeoCities, which somehow made it worse. That's kind of why they hired me. A lot of their graduating customers in the final survey called the homepage a total mess. The daughter of the owner of the company had designed it, and she was not happy that people disapproved of her work. You see, I was the poor B-turd in the position of cleaning up her crap, and I really did make a valiant effort to be civil about my job, essentially boiling down to undoing her job. You have to understand here that at the end of the GeoCities era, people were beginning to realize that visitors to our websites didn't want to have seizures upon opening them, and the web in itself was gradually moving towards simplicity. Down-drop menus were all the buzz, especially because high-speed cable was not yet popularized, and nobody wanted to load an abomination that reminded them of that god-awful teeny drama with kids who had thesauruses in their back pockets. The owner's sweet baby girl had also apparently caught wind of what they were paying me, which she thought was far too inflated. Their course salespeople were making half the hourly that I was making, so why did they need me when they had her? This craphead drove a brand new Volkswagen New Beetle, so obviously she wasn't hurting for money. But I digress. During our first meeting, they asked me about my plans for the website. I went over how the current website's bones were good, which they most assuredly were not, but it could use a more modern touch. I proposed simplifying it with drop-down menus and so on. During this meeting, the owner's daughter gradually transformed her smug smile into a sneer and later on into a full-out scowl. Eventually, she interrupted me saying that I wasn't there to redesign the site, the purpose for which I was explicitly hired, but to do the tech stuff with her doing the design stuff. In general, people agreed with her. Maybe art director was hidden somewhere in her bullcrap consultant title, but whatever. I realized then that my tenure there wasn't going to last long. To milk out every penny from my paycheck, I suggested that she handle the design side and I build the site. Without exaggeration, everything she suggested was bordering on malicious stupidity. I did it all anyway. Barking sounds on clicking links? You got it. Wait, you want me to put how many success stories pictures on one page? Well, you're the designer. Yes, I'm fairly sure that discipline is the correct spelling after all. No, I'm sure people's 56K internet connections will handle this just fine. A month and a half later, our abomination was complete. She was strangely satisfied, and to this day, I wonder if the entire thing was a ploy to get back at Daddy for something. You could legitimately build a better site in the GeoCities Web Wizard tool. If the job mattered at all to me, I probably would have vomited in disgust. When it was unveiled, everyone at the company unanimously hated it, and all I could say was that I was just the tech guy, and was soon thereafter let go for unrelated reasons, and a month later when I visited their site, I noticed they'd gone back to the old one. Out of curiosity, all these years later, I just looked up the school, and apparently they still do exist. My act of malicious compliance obviously didn't do any lasting damage on them, as their new website is about what you would expect from one in 2021. But damn, I'm still proud of myself. And our last story. Drama with boat neighbor turns into personal restraining order, which then turns into drama with landlord. State of Hawaii. A bit of backstory first. Basically, I have a boat that's docked on a privately owned dock. I have a boat neighbor that I had originally hired a few years back to help teach me how to restore the boat that I had bought. I ended up having to fire him because I caught him being dishonest and milking the clock at $50 an hour. I refused to pay him $700 that he says he's owed until he fixes the problem. He refused and instead took me to court and lost. He's furious and tries to fight me and my friend for a while, then resorts to more sneaky and underhanded behavior. For example, tools will go missing, fishing poles disappear, and most recently, I had left my keys in my moped the other night, 100% positive that they were there, and they just kind of disappear for a few days, and then after I call him out on it, they kind of reappear the next day. And finally, I was riding my moped down the street, and the back tire starts to wobble around, and I find out that 4 of the 6 lug nuts are gone, and the last 2 holding on the tire are finger loose, and I caught it just in time. And finally, I come in from a great day out on the water, and my friend walks up to a table where he happened to be sitting and asked if anyone had a lighter, and this guy loses his mind and tries to fight us. We have him on audio telling us that he's going to hurt us. After that, we filed for a restraining order on this guy. He's established a clear pattern for us, and it's become a major safety concern. That is, this will escalate further unless we take action against him. Now here's where this gets kind of weird. This is kind of an unusual living situation that we're in, by the way. This is on a privately owned dock in the state of Hawaii. The landlady is a real aggressive type that doesn't even want any boats there in the first place and is worried about the security of her business. I completely understand her position and how she doesn't want anything to draw attention to her spot. However, when the police showed up to have the guy sign for his restraining order, he refused to open up the gate and then complained to the landlady that we were trying to cause a scene and yada yada yada. I get a screaming call from the lady saying, and I quote, "Either you drop the TRO or I will evict you." It seems retaliatory eviction, and on more than one grounds it seems dangerous as well. This guy has a history of violence around the state of Hawaii and has a reputation, and I've seen him personally doing vindictive, petty, and outright aggressive things to people in our community. Before he had it out for me and my friend, it was a list of people before us. Basically, if I drop this TRO, it's only going to get worse, and if I don't, I may possibly be evicted. I really only want to be left alone, and I don't want my things to be screwed with anymore, especially my boat. That could cost me my life if something goes wrong out at sea. Update. I just talked to the police and explained that I needed to drop the restraining order because my landlady was threatening to evict me if I didn't. They just told me that she absolutely could do no such thing, and that if she did, it would come with a whole host of charges against her, and she'd be arrested on the spot. I kindly let her know that I'd been recording all her calls as well, and even played them back for her to remind her of what she had said several times over. I think I just accidentally won. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.